I'm Eleanor Hines, Northbound Beekeeper, Lead Scientist at Resources.
And I'm Kirsten McDade, Pollution Prevention Specialist, also at Resources. And here we are looking out at Bellingham Bay, but we are on the R.G. Haley cleanup site. And in this video, you're going to learn how the site became contaminated, what the cleanup plans are, and what's going to happen to this remarkable piece of land. And lastly, you're going to learn how you can get involved in the cleanup process.
And currently, R.G. Haley is in the engineering design report days. So it is a Model Toxics Control Act site, or MACA. And so there have been all of these other steps before we got to the engineering design report that also have public comments open. And so the engineering design is really just finalizing those final pieces for the cleanup that will happen in short time to come.
We hope you enjoy the video. Thanks. The R.G. Haley cleanup site is located at the bottom of a large bluff that actually originates up at Seaholm Hill. Perhaps you have seen this site as you walk along the South Bay Trail. It is the site just north of where those prominent white tarps are. Right now, there's not a whole lot to see. Remnants of old buildings, wire fencing, barrels of contaminated materials from past environmental investigation work, and a riprap shoreline made from concrete, old bricks, and refuse. Currently, it is off limits to the public until the contamination of the site is addressed. Hundreds of years ago, this landscape looked quite different. It actually was a very productive tidal flat where the Coast Salish hunted and gathered fish, shellfish, and seaweed. When European settlement occurred in the 1850s, the shoreline began to change dramatically. A railroad line was built in the 1890s, and a large wood wharf was built that provided boat access to this area to support the various timber mills that operated here, as well as to transport coal from historic coal mines. Filling along the shoreline also began in the late 1800s and extended into the 1970s, creating the upland property that is within the R.G. Haley site. The City of Bellingham currently owns most of this upland property, and the State of Washington owns most of the in-water property within the R.G. Haley site. How did this site get contaminated? Well, the R.G. Haley site was where trees were milled, stored, and most importantly treated. The chemicals that were used to treat wood, such as pentachlorophenol and petroleum hydrocarbons, are present in soil, groundwater, and marine sediments at potentially harmful levels. Other chemicals are also present: polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, dioxins and furans, phthalates, metals, municipal refuse, and PCBs. Some of these contaminants actually come from overlapping cleanup sites. The Cornwall Avenue landfill site is located to the south, and the Whatcom Waterway site is located to the west, within Bellingham Bay. The Department of Ecology has been overseeing cleanup activities to address the contamination for a number of years, and in 2018 they finalized a cleanup action plan for the R.G. Haley site. The site has two main cleanup sections: the upland site, where soil and groundwater contamination will be addressed, and the in-water site, where contaminated sediments will be managed. Cleanup action plans have also been finalized by Ecology for the overlapping Cornwall Avenue landfill and Whatcom Waterway sites. Every cleanup site in Washington has a unique personality, and the R.G. Haley site is not an exception. The upland area has been filled with an assortment of wood waste products, including old wood pilings from the historic pier that make soil extraction tricky. In addition, this site has also productive eelgrass beds all along the intertidal zone. Eelgrass beds are critical nurseries, food sources, and wave moderators. The cleanup work will preserve and protect these beds as much as possible, and mitigate adverse impacts if necessary. We are now going to hear from two experts who can tell us more about the roles they play in the cleanup process and some of the finer details about the R.G. Haley site.
We are here with Craig Mueller, Public Works Project Engineer for the City of Bellingham. The City of Bellingham owns the R.G. Haley site. So Craig, can you tell us what role you and the city play in the cleanup of this site?
Yes, again, I'm Craig Mueller. I am the project manager for the City of Bellingham Public Works. I manage the design and construction of the R.G. Haley site and the Cornwall landfill site for the city. The city has voluntarily taken on part or all of the work of cleaning up these two sites, and it will protect Bellingham Bay as well as ultimately provide a fantastic green space, open space for the residents. The city is partnering with the port on the Cornwall Avenue cleanup site, and the R.G. Haley cleanup will be accomplished through excavation of the shoreline to grade it correctly, as well as capping both the upland and the in-water portion of the site to keep contaminants from harming people and the environment.
Some cleanup has already occurred at this site. Can you explain what that activity was and why it was done?
Yes, several years ago, there was a petroleum leak that was noticed from about halfway through the site, and that was entering the bay. An emergency interim action was done at that time to place an oil-absorbing armored cap over the location of the seep. This work prevented further seepage and will be ultimately replaced when the permanent cap is done. The permanent cap will also, in the upland area, will involve encapsulating some of the areas in a concrete slurry to make sure that nothing can move, and then a synthetic cap goes over everything and then cover soils. The in-water cap will consist of soil layers which will trap any potential migrating contaminants before it can enter the bay.
This site is adjacent to the Cornwall landfill, which is also undergoing the cleanup process. It is our understanding that these two sites share a joint feature. Could you talk about what the city envisions for these sites in the future after the cleanup has occurred, and how the site will be protected from getting recontaminated?
The city has completed a master plan to ultimately develop the site into a city park. The design for the park is underway and will include large open green space, loop trails, and water access, in addition to fantastic views of Bellingham Bay and the San Juan Islands. The installation of the cap over the site before park development ensures that there will be no contact between the site contaminants and park users. The park is scheduled to begin construction as soon as the cleanup is complete.
Hi, this is Kirsten McDade again from Resources, and we're here with Lucy McInerney, the site manager for the R.G. Haley site. Before we start with the technical aspects of this tour stop, could you give us a quick overview, Lucy, of some of the responsibilities of a site manager with the Washington State Department of Ecology?
Site managers oversee cleanup work performed by those legally liable for contamination in the environment, known as potentially liable persons or PLPs. We make sure the work is performed in accordance with Washington's environmental cleanup law, the Model Toxics Control Act. This law provides requirements for contaminated site cleanup and sets standards that protect human health and the environment. As part of our oversight work, we review technical documents generated by the PLPs, as well as related legal and funding documents. We also interact with attorneys, public outreach specialists, technical specialists, and grant administrators. Most importantly, we regularly interact with the PLPs and the environmental consultants they hire to conduct the required cleanup work.
The draft engineering design report is out for public review. However, this is not required under the MATCA cleanup process. Could you explain what this document is and why you are issuing it for public review?
Ecology selected the cleanup action for the R.G. Haley site in 2018 following public review. Since then, the City of Bellingham, the PLP, has conducted additional investigation work to begin the design of the cleanup action. The draft engineering design report represents 30% complete design and provides details that refine the 2018 cleanup action. Public participation isn't required at the engineering design step of the MATCA cleanup process because this step provides design details that refine Ecology's previously selected cleanup action. In other words, this is not a decision-making step, where Ecology is required to solicit input from the public prior to making a decision. The decision has already been made. We've elected to issue the report for public review because we thought the community may be interested in learning about where the project is in the cleanup process and about the cleanup action design details.
Given the special review opportunity for the draft engineering design report, what public comments do you anticipate?
We hope the comments relate to understanding the process that led to this step and to understanding the cleanup action design details. Comments on Ecology's 2018 cleanup decision won't be useful since this is a past decision.
What contaminants are present, and generally what are some of the cleanup action design details in the draft engineering design report to address these contaminants?
There's a variety of chemicals present in soil, groundwater, and sediment from past wood treating operations, including petroleum hydrocarbons, pentachlorophenol, polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, and dioxins and furans. To address the contamination, the draft engineering design report details how much soil will be treated, how much sediment will be relocated, and how many acres of soil and sediment will be isolated with specific types and thicknesses of capping materials.
Thank you, Lucy, for joining us, and thank you for that information.
Hi, this is Ian Foley, Outreach Specialist with the Washington State Department of Ecology. I'm here on the Bellingham waterfront with the R.G. Haley site behind me. Ecology has some good news to share with you about the progress that we're making at this cleanup site. We have an engineering design report ready for your review. During Ecology's 30-day comment period, Resources will host an in-person walking tour through their public participation grant from Ecology. In this video, I'll explain about how you can participate in those outreach opportunities. The R.G. Haley cleanup site that you see labeled here is continuing through Washington's formal cleanup process. The Model Toxics Control Act, or MTCA for short, is Washington's environmental cleanup law. Public participation is built in at specific steps, highlighted here in this infographic by orange comment bubbles. But as you can see, public participation is not required at the engineering design step of the MTCA process, because this step provides design details that refine Ecology's previously selected cleanup action, described in a cleanup action plan. However, Ecology has elected to issue the R.G. Haley Engineering Design Report for public review due to anticipated community interest. For 30 days, beginning January 31st through March 1st of 2022, Ecology welcomes comments on the Engineering Design Report. This report represents 30% completion of the design work and provides details, refining the cleanup action selected by Ecology in 2018. The report is available for review and digital download from Ecology's cleanup site webpage listed here. For other review options, please contact me directly. During this 30-day comment period, you can comment in one of two ways. You can submit a comment directly through Ecology's e-comment online form via the web link here, or you can submit comments to Ecology's site manager, Lucy McInerney, through email or mail. Commenter contact information is optional. However, if you want to receive future notices or responses, your contact information is necessary. Resources will host a walking tour at the R.G. Haley site on Tuesday, February 8th, 2022, starting at noon. The walking tour will meet at the end of Cornwall Avenue by the Pocket Beach. Ecology and City of Bellingham staff will join Resources to share about the cleanup action design details and answer questions. Thanks for watching. I hope to connect with you all through one of our outreach opportunities. If you have any questions about this comment period or any future Ecology outreach, please feel free to contact me via email or phone listed below. I know we've been separated a lot lately, but Ecology wants to make sure that you're connected to the progress that we're making on cleaning up Bellingham Bay. Thanks for watching. Take care.